This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Resolved. Owori Moses is my name. Namugongo Secondary Vocational School. Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
I have a few questions for you.
That's okay.
Did you give us a time frame?
No, we did not.
Did you give us a body?
No, we did not.
Did you give us a funding body?
This is not a policy debate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong or not. Yeah. Now, do you know that countries that are using renewable forms of energy still carry out deforestation? Do you know that the economy of the world is at stake at the moment?
Yes,
I'm sorry, I'm not receiving my answers. I don't know why. Did you give us a plan for maintenance? For maintenance and repair of machinery that you're going to use to develop these machines that are going to help us to improve on the improve on the renewable reforms. Yeah, renewable
Do you
forms of
understand
energy.
the meaning of subsidy?
That's reducing. That's reducing of costs.
Does not mean you're taking them away.
Questions. Give me my time. Respect my time.
Okay.
This is an organized debate. Thank you very much. Are we all able globally to sustain and maintain renewable resources right now?
Yes, we are.
Oh. All right. Are we all able to maintain and manage all kinds of funds that come along with putting in renewable forms of energy?
Depends on the economists you're using.
Which what do you mean by that? I don't need your answer right
Economics
there.
plan for the
Ladies
country.
and gentlemen, these people do not know the type of debate they are coming in for. They're not giving us a time. They're not giving us a body. They're not giving us a funding body. What are we supposed to do with that? We are here to solve a particular issue. They're calling this a problem. It's not a problem. We are not refusing the renewable resources of energy. We are just saying that let's use the non-renewable because that's what we are having right now. That's what we are good at. What's the point of you going for something that you don't understand? Go for what you understand. That's the issue that we're having right now, even in Uganda with their time frame. Let us do what we're able to do and let's do it right. When the time comes for us to go to the next level, we shall go to the next level. But right now, this is the level we are at. What's the point of living this level when you're not even perfected at it? Do it, improve it, move on after that. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't really know why my fellow debaters on this other side are not seeing that. They really should, and I hope that by the end of this debate, they have understood our argument and put it right. Thank you very much. I rest my case.
Do renewable energy resources spoil the environment? Are they depleted? No. Do you acknowledge the expensive cost of renewable energy supplies?
I beg your pardon?
Do you acknowledge the expensive cost of renewable energy supplies? Do you acknowledge the fight against climate change? Yes. Do you believe in inclusivity for action against climate change? Do you believe in inclusivity for action against climate change? Yes, I do. Do you? I am asking the questions here. Are you aware agriculture contributes heavily to the economy of Uganda? Are you aware agriculture contributes heavily to the economy of Uganda? Are you aware that subsidies have been a constant government approach to aid production processes in the country? Do you believe subsidies would encourage investment in the renewable energy sector? Do you believe subsidies would encourage in the renewable energy sector? Do you believe subsidies would encourage investment in the renewable energy sector? Do you acknowledge the impact of climate change on the agricultural economy of Uganda? Do you acknowledge the impact of climate change on the agricultural economy of Uganda? At what cost are these non-cost-effective energy? At what cost are these non-cost-effective sources of energy?
I do believe my answer is supposed to be yes or no, not an explanation.
When I ask the questions, you do the answering. Is wind energy the only form of renewable energy? Is wind energy the only form of renewable energy? Thank you very much. My reply speech begins. I asked, do you acknowledge the expensive cost of renewable energy? They said yes. Why are we subsidizing? And I asked if they acknowledge the fact that subsidies have been a constant government approach to aid production processes. So panel, we are using subsidies as we subsidize defined as having part of the cost of production paid in order to keep the selling price low. We acknowledge subsidizing does not take away the whole cost as a half the price. It takes out the of the price to make the selling price low. I asked, are you aware agriculture contributes heavily to the economy of Uganda? So we believe in the fight against climate change as a Sustainable Development Goal 13, and we are looking at using renewable energy while we are subsidizing it so that every person can be included. That's why I asked, do you believe in inclusivity for action against climate change? We want to use every kind of person who uses wood fuel or charcoal to actually come to this fight and fight climate change, because even if you realize we have more renewable energy sources apart from what they exemplify as wind. We have solar and we have hydroelectric power. So we'd like to make this more affordable by actually having part of the cost of production paid in order to keep the selling price low. So when this renewable energy is actually lower than they actually usually sold, we look at them being affordable to the common person, which is our SDG number 7, which is cheap and which is clean and affordable energy. We look at actually creating this road for people in our country, which is Uganda, as our parameters to make the fight against climate change, whereby we look at agriculture as a very big backbone of our economy, very essential part, which we have to protect. So in combating climate energy, we look at bringing renewable energy as our fight of climate change. We ask them, at what cost are these non-cost-effective sources of energy? They don't explain. They don't even actually understand their case. I ask them, do you believe subsidies would encourage investment in the renewable energy sector? I wanted them to understand that when the renewable energy sector is actually subsidized, more investors will come and you will not have a tax burden to actually care about. So I don't know what they are bringing to us really, but I have to understand, I have to tell them that we are bringing the fight to climate change, and this is our action to it.
You cannot have inconsistencies on what exactly is the parameter you're debating. Are you challenging the parameter of the affirmative team, or are you moving on a thin line of whether you want to agree to it or not to agree to it? You must take a position, challenge it, but debate in it. But you can't keep saying, one speaker cannot say our parameters are the world, the other says the parameters set by the affirmative team is Uganda, the other comes back to the world, this one comes back to Uganda. It shows inconsistencies. Number 2, how can 3 of your speakers use consistently 3 minutes or 4 minutes? Really? The third speaker left an entire minute after she stated that, no, the second speaker, I think, after she stated that there are other options that we can use, and she left us to imagine those options. We cannot debate this debate for you. It is yours to debate. It is yours to analyze. So for me, even before I go to the marks, on technical issues, the negative team cannot win today's debate. Just technical issues, even before I go into the argument. Number 3, this is one of those debates that are analytical. We do not require you, in such a debate, we all know, everyone knows that renewable energy is good. The question is, should we subsidize it or should we not subsidize it? Now, much as you can come up with other means, which you did not do enough to show us which those other means are, you must show us why we should, in the first place, not subsidize such renewable energy. And you did so little to show us why we should not subsidize such renewable energy. This is a debate that you win by analyzing the benefit of subsidizing as against doing what you front. You cannot afford to trade between lines where your first speaker has made a consensus that we are not against renewable energy, and in the other subsequent speeches you start telling us how renewable energy is actually expensive. An argument that is within itself contradictive to the argument that is advanced by the affirmative team. That's why they consequently ask you that if it is expensive, mustn't we then subsidize so that it can become cheap?
Yeah, thank you. Renewable forms of energy should be subsidized. This was a resolution that is literally looking at which team is able to provide an alternative that will ease the access to renewable forms of energy. We were not in comparison of renewable against non-renewable. So team negative. Actually, your first speaker, I think, had even talked about something to do with planning in a better way, policy alignment. in her speech from your first speaker, actually, for her, she was not against renewable, which was very good. Because for she, like, literally for her, she was able at least to understand what the resolution wanted. For her, in her policy, it was, one, subsidizing is bad because it will affect the economy. So instead of us subsidizing, why don't we use other means to promote access to renewable energy? Now, there you had started getting it well. Now, when the other subsequent speakers came along, ladies and gentlemen, debate calls for teamwork. Teamwork in debate means all of you are meant to get into agreement on what you are meant to talk about. But if you guys are not committed, or if the debaters are not committed, or if you don't have teamwork, now that's what results into that, where you find one speaker talks about something else, the other speakers talk about something else, then the other speaker comes and references the other, then the other also comes and they talk about something else. It is teamwork, meaning whatever you're advocating for should be the same song from the first to the last. Team affirmative. Why personally I will be able, because now, team negative, you had an argument that was talking about the issue of the costs. But now they kept on telling you why we are actually, that's why I think even one of the speakers even asked, do you understand the meaning of subsidizing? They told you, yes, we are in agreement that actually, you know what, the renewable forms of energy are expensive. That's why you see even their first speaker talked about the issue of the solar, how expensive it is. But then they said that after us agreeing that it is expensive, now, why don't we subsidize? So now the challenge I had with team negative, you had an argument that was brought by the first speaker, it died out. None of you came back to talk about the issue of planning in a better way, to talk about policy alignment. It died in the first speech. The other subsequent speakers, none of you was able to come and make a counter submission on the counter argument that you had. Now this is a general advice before I go to the marks. Let us refrain from getting arguments either using ChatGPT or AI. I've not said that any team used, but if you used, you know. Reason why, ChatGPT is not going to help you to explain this thing to the way you understand it. That's why you are going to talk about something and you will not be able to explain it. Like if you use ChatGPT is also being operated by a human being, and ChatGPT is where, actually for us as the judges, we shall always know a team that has either used AI or ChatGPT. That's your homework.
Team negative. You were not supposed to give us the disadvantages of renewable energy. You were supposed to give us the disadvantages of subsidization, which are hinted on by first negator by mentioning to us that, you know what, things like market distortion. Yeah, beautiful. Now, team negative. From second to fourth, all you did were contradictions. Third negator, you even ask a POI of the cost of renewable energy. And you come up and still contradict yourself on that very podium. Moving on. Looking at even the points mentioned by second negator, your entire role as second negator is what? Characterization of your points of arguments. What were you supposed to characterize on? You're supposed to characterize on the alternatives that were given by first negator. However, what do you delve into? You delve into disadvantages, such as affects resource allocation. Your entire team case. Now, your entire team case was you are supposed to come up and do what? And give us the disadvantages of renewable energy subsidization. Now, you wouldn't have been penalized for that in case your first negator started with that. You get that? I would like to talk about this. It pained me from the first speaker, second and third. You come up and tell us your team case. However, all of you are reading your team case. A debate is supposed to be a place where you are convincing us of your team case, not merely telling us that your team case exists. What did you do? You were reading. Personally, for me, I wouldn't really fault team affirmative, because it's like Judge Solomon has said, it's like they were just debating with ChatGPT. So at the end of the day, both of you failed greatly in your roles. I gave team affirmative 58 and team negative 53. It's a unanimous decision. The team affirmative takes the day.